Hi Anna, welcome back to the second video. I think I said at the end of the first one I was going to ask you about the briefcase. So tell me, the original briefcase, where is it? Do you use it?
I don't have it anymore.
Oh,
I
such a
picture it, but do you know what? Now that we've kind of talked about it, and it's kind of come back to the front of my mind. I need to go and find a similar briefcase because I think it holds so many memories. But no, I don't have it. Even though I might be able to ask my mom if it's in the cellar somewhere. Uh, because we've not actually gone through some of the old stuff. Unfortunately, my dad died about 10 years ago,
I'm sorry.
so I can't really ask him about if he remembers it or if he knows where it is. But if I find it, I will let you know.
Yeah, actually, my old briefcase is just 2 feet away from me. So there you go.
How is it?
I don't use it. It's storage, but it's in really good condition. So amazing. Oh well. Um, so you just have very large handbags now, do you?
Yeah, very large. Yeah, very large handbags now. Um,
Okay. Let's talk about your transition then from Costa Coffee into you becoming a food entrepreneur. How did that happen? What was the transition like?
I think just before um I start telling you a bit more about my business, I just want to ask you and the public something like maybe something to really think about. Like, have they ever felt like your passion for something could turn into something way much bigger than they've ever imagined?
Great, great question. I don't I don't actually think that most people ask themselves that. Are you
I
asking
think it's
me?
such a, well, I'm asking you. I think it's something for you don't have to, you don't really have to answer to me unless you want to answer. But I think it's a very important question for people and probably puts it a bit in perspective. You know what I'm going to talk about with my business, but more so, I didn't necessarily ask myself a question over the years, this question over the years, but when I actually did, and when I actually look back and review, it's such a valid question to ask. And I think the sooner we ask, the sooner people ask themselves, what was that little child that wanted whatever they wanted, and is there something that I still crave for?
Yeah,
Um, that I think that the happier humans out there, because ultimately it's all about trying to be our happiest in the time that we have.
yeah. I think you're absolutely right. And later on, if I remember, I'm going to ask you about whether you mentor other people because you seem to be potentially a fantastic mentor. You probably do it instinctively anyway. But before we get to that, let's talk about your entrepreneurial journey. So talk about coming out of Costa Coffee and creating a business. How did that happen?
So I'm going to try and be really quick because it's I think the story is quite long. So when during my time in Costa Coffee, I had Eva Jane as I was kind of getting into a place when I was ready to find something else. I had Eva Jane, and then everything changes in terms of priorities. But still keen to build on my career and don't want to be kind of left out. I've returned to work really quickly, getting stuck in and moving on to um, an area manager role, which was for a franchisee partner. And it was really tough, long hours, long driving.
Right.
Um, it was kind of putting a toll on me and my kind of, everything kind of seemed different, even though I was kind of, it felt like I was the same person. Everything seemed different. And, Eva Jane at home was as important as everything else. So now I had this drag home way earlier when you could never do, but then I still wanted everything to be in line and perfect and, deliver on all the lines. And that's kind of, um, my first kind kind of shock I
Yeah.
still didn't recognize what was going on, but that's kind of as early as I remember that something was different, but I didn't really know what. So what I've done for the next, I think, 3 or 4 years, I kind of changed jobs from area manager to ops manager. From uh, um, I worked with McCall's, then McCall's was took over by Morrison. Then I thought, I actually want a family orientated business. So I moved into spa, which was like in the Northwest,
Yeah.
quite local to me. So I kind of tried to find a job that I thought was the reason why I was kind of so felt so different. I kind of didn't feel like I was achieving anything. I felt like everything was really um, taking its toll on me. I was really tired. I felt overworked. I constantly was running out of time. I felt like I'm not good at my job. I'm not a good mom because the kids. Then I think somewhere in the process, I think just before I changed into my spa role, which was my last role before my business, I had my little boy, and with Elijah came a different new, even a different new perspective, because he's like a mommy's boy, and I don't know if all the boys are the same, but he was really clingy like at the beginning, and whatever time I didn't have, he wanted even more.
Yeah.
So then I kind of reached like this moment where I would just cry every morning thinking like how my day's gonna go and where I'm gonna go with this, because I feel like, there was a lot of bugs as well. If Jane was starting nursery school, all the bugs was coming, he was getting, I was supposed to go to
Yeah.
work. I couldn't, I mean, a lot of family with kids, especially young kids, would probably understand what, and being the person that I was, it was very, very hard. And I don't think, in my mind, really understood how I can get out of that.
Yeah.
I just felt the whole world and everything that I was good at was crumbling. I didn't feel like I knew how to be a mother. Not that I wasn't a great mother. I just didn't feel like I knew how to be a mother, because I was constantly, when I was a mother, I was having to fix other things. I was having to do this. I was having to do reports. And then, yeah, it was, and this
Yeah.
time COVID happened as well. And through COVID, I was with McCall's then. Through COVID, I was actually, I took on a regional role for, as part of my project, which was Women at McCall's. I took on a regional role. So I had about 170 stores. Now, COVID
Wow.
was changing every day, and so were the rules in shops. And people were dying around us, and the staff had to go to work. We were on 24/7. Like, it was intense. So
Yeah.
I think all that accumulated, those probably 5, 6 years, were like, for me, wow, like intense. And
Yeah.
at some point it got to, and this is kind of the moment that I want to refer, and probably the 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 thing where when I kind of had to stop, when I got really poorly. I started to have vertigo, so I ended up having to go to doctor. It was around stress. Couldn't sleep, really poorly. Um, and I think I remember telling you probably in one of the episodes, not this one, but previously when we talk about money. Um, I was I was having lunches on the go, running around, in between, like in work, while in one hand typing, one hand eating, and at the same time thinking about what am I doing,
Yeah.
and that was kind of August 22. And I remember really clearly, because it kind of put everything in motion in my mind, at least, you know, I was eating and I was like, okay, this tastes okay, but I love cooking.
Yeah.
I could do this better. And that's exactly what I remember. I always keep going back to this. And it's not that that wasn't good. I was thinking, like, if I had the time, I would make this for me better. In my mind, that was kind of what,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? And I was like,
Yes.
what if I have a go at this? And that was kind of the moment when I thought there might be a different way,
Yeah.
you know? And then even though I don't remember the whole kind of details of what followed, I do know that at some point during that week, I said, I'm going to post to see if anybody would like to buy these meals. I mean, bear in mind, I was in a position where I had no time. I was already burnt out workout. So what I was doing, I was adding more work to myself. Like, what the hell? Like, I'm thinking, like, have you not learned anything, Diana? But I felt so strongly about, is this even a possibility?
Yeah.
That
That's
I
a,
just didn't even think that what I was doing. It was exactly the opposite, doing more work rather than less work.
that, that sounds a little crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that was
Well,
kind of the moment for me.
that's fantastic. But also tough because obviously you're taking on even more work. So
Yeah.
what happened? How did you start? What did you do to actually let people know that there was this opportunity to get meals from you?
So I posted on Facebook. I created a menu. I think it was whatever I've seen online previously. I thought I put some of my favorite meals together. So I put a few meals on kind of an A4 and I
Yeah,
put it out there and I said, would anybody like to try my meals? I'm thinking about starting this side hustle, which was initially a side hustle because I had plenty of time for side hustles.
yeah,
Would anybody be interested? And I think the first week I had 5 or 6 people that were all people that knew me. Clearly, they knew
okay,
that I could probably cook, and they they wanted to order, and I was like, okay. I mean, I used to have during COVID, again going through. I had another attempt with food, um, where I did some grace boxes. That was generally as a side hustle because I just wanted some. We needed some extra cash, so I had this food through COVID because people were partying in their gardens. So I did loads of grace boxes, and
right.
that was kind of packed up as a business. Um, so then I kind of used the same kind of business, which was avocado and red wine by then, to try and put this in there. Um,
How did you
and
manage
then
the distribution in terms of how did you get for people who knew you, did you actually deliver them or did they collect them?
Yeah, yeah. So me and my husband, it was either him or me. We would deliver, after finish work. Again, on the time that I didn't have, I was cooking at night, delivering the day after I was working. I was
Okay,
cooking during the night. I was delivering the day after. If he was off that day, he was working shifts with Tesco. Then if he was off that afternoon, he would deliver. Or if he was off in the morning, I would deliver. So we would work like that. But yeah, it was the 6 months that led to me leaving my job were intense.
right. Did you take the children with you when you were delivering?
Yeah, yeah.
Right,
To be fair, we took the children. So unless my sister was available and I could drop them off sometimes for play, we took the children a lot of time, even in year one with us. Sometimes we would just make it as an adventure.
yeah. Well,
it would be an yeah.
some adventure. So, what was in your head about distribution? Because when you start and it's your friends and you can deliver or they pick up from you, if you start, when did you start to actually get customers who you actually didn't know? They just heard about you and thought this is a great idea, and actually they live nowhere near you. What was your thinking about distribution then?
So I ended up, I mean, I didn't think about distribution in the sense of distribution till very late in the it was all about, initially, I was all about just, if people order, I just want more and more people. So I was
Okay,
taking random. So initially, I wasn't that planned. All I wanted was to make money, to make sense for me to turn this from a side hustle into a business that I could sustain myself. So for
yeah,
me, it was just, I knew that if people, from the initial, I think the first month, from the initial feedback from my friends and, people that were their friends that I didn't know, I could feel like once people try my meals, they do enjoy them and they continue to stay with me. So
right.
all I was thinking is how I can get more and more people to try my meals. To
And you knew you would get loyalty from them when they enjoyed them, and
yeah,
then
yeah. Yeah,
That's amazing. So
yeah,
you must have been exhausted just
yeah,
doing this. So at
yeah,
some point, apart from being exhausted, you thought you got to move this from being a side hustle to being your main
yeah,
way of earning money. How did that
yeah.
happen, and how confident were you that it was all going to work out?
Well, I'm a very positive person, so I don't know if it. I mean, I know it helped me, but I probably went a bit blindsided from a perspective of how hard year one is going to be. But
Yeah,
I did go in there. When I decided to leave, I went against what people said and the circumstance and the economy. We were just going through price increases for gas, electric, whatnot. It was that
yeah,
October when they announced extra and all the mortgage rates were going up, blah blah blah, all that no one wants to hear. And I was so adamant that this is my time, that I'm going to try it. Now, I truly believed that I was going to do my best. And I also thought in my mind that if this doesn't work, I will just have to go back to do the job that I left from.
right,
So I kind of put that in my mind. Look, you can always go back and get a job because there is job and you're working hard. You'll find a job if this doesn't work. But I went in there truly believing that it's going to work. It's just depending on how much effort I'm putting in. But I also knew it's not going to work if I continue it as a side hustle because there's not
right.
much more I can do before I get myself poorly. So in October. So that was about 3 months after August, September. Yeah, 3 months after I've gone into this side hustle, I've decided I'm gonna resign. And I've given myself till January, so 3 months notice. It was only a month that I needed to give notice, but I think the notice was more for me to get
Yeah,
used to the idea to
okay.
get used to the idea of actually going and in my mind not having a job because I've never been without a job and not having a secure money making
Yeah,
monthly wage type thing. And then in December I had EHO visit because after you register that you're going to do, I had EHO visit. And I said to myself, if that EHO gives me a 5 and they think I can do this, like from a perspective of process, I'm going to go for it. If they give me anything that 5, I'm just going to step it and just never even think about this ever again.
yeah,
And not only that, the lady that came gave me a 5. I was very open and honest with her where I was in what I just done. And, I'm going to start full time in January. And she was like, you go for it. She was a very empowering woman. So she really pushed me. And, I've never met her before and I'm probably never going to meet her again. But she was such a positive force that day that I was like, oh my God, do you know what? If that lady thinks that I can do, she never met me. It's only from what I told her today.
yeah.
Like, clearly I've got to trust that I can do it.
That's wonderful. I would have done the same because you got such passion. So when you started, well, I think you just said you were being a realist. You couldn't be absolutely certain it would work, but you had to give it your all and you had to do it full
Mm.
time. So, at the beginning, what did you do things differently when you were scaling up?
2023, the year one was a very tough year, and the I always think back of what did I have a system? Did I have? I didn't. I was just kind of playing every month that it was coming by. All I wanted was to get sales in for people time. I mean, and 2023, when I actually looked back, it was a year when most of the work that was needed was probably on myself because over all these years and becoming a mother and all the last 10 years probably I kind of lost who I was.
Yeah,
So I was, in a way, I was frustrated because the business was not moving sales wise as fast as I wanted it, so we can be financially stable again. But at the
yeah,
same time, it couldn't move because I was stuck myself. So
yeah,
until I did all that work on myself, so I take 2023 like a challenging year from a business perspective, but the year that kind of shaped the way my business went, because I was kind of I allow myself to focus on myself and really understand what's important to me, what I want to do, why did I take the risk in the first place? I didn't take it for this little thing or for, I didn't take it for that or for that or for that where I was going. I took it because it needs to mean something to me. So there was no, it was just a lot of work on myself, year one. There were a lot of challenges, there were the financial constraints because I'd gone from like um, working like a full-time job. I was like the main provider in our family, bonuses, really good life, to go into not having a business car, a phone, nothing,
Yeah.
not getting the wage in, and just relying on every week's sales really to get some money in the house. Then there was a lot of gaps in knowledge. Like I remember being an area manager or an ops manager, and always thinking there's teams that would do that for me. You would go to that person to do it, but then when you end up on your own, it's like, okay, I got to do that. Well, how do you even do that? Where do I go?
Yeah.
It is then it's really lonely. It's a really lonely place. I was like, oh my God, I've not seen people in like days now. Like usually I had teams of people all the time, meeting, being out, and it was a lonely place, and not knowing where to go. The networking groups were really expensive. You had no cash. You couldn't afford to pay £800 a year or whatever to go into a networking group.
Yeah.
Um, so that was not there. You had a lot of doubt in yourself, and especially if the sales were not where they needed to be. If if you got a feedback that maybe, oh, that wasn't up to scratch or something like that, because you get that through your career. You were like, oh my God, what am I even doing?
Yeah.
Am I even so yeah, all those challenges, that they were all very much part of most of 2023, to be fair. And that kind of what helped me grow, because the lack of sales initially, especially, and it wasn't that there was lack of sales, there were not sales enough to give me a full-time income. So there was sales, but they were
Yeah.
growing steadily, which was, now in hindsight, is quite good. But that then life was, whoa, okay, now it's another month of this, it's another month of that, another £100 every month was another £100.
Yeah.
But
So
then that gave me time to really focus on me.
yeah. Well, I would think so because it sounds like you're doing everything. So you suddenly become Diana in the kitchen, Diana in accounts, Diana in marketing, Diana in
Yeah,
delivery.
yeah,
You were everything, and
yeah,
you kind of knew you couldn't be that. It wouldn't carry on
yeah,
like that. If you got the extra sales, all those problems just get bigger.
yeah.
So at some point, you put your business head on, and what did you change in terms of being able to scale up without making yourself completely exhausted?
I think the first thing was just go from like everything written down to automation and writing it. I mean,
Okay,
semi-automation, because I didn't actually get a software as such, but kind of created spreadsheets to help me deal with with all the orders that were coming in, to have it
yeah,
something that creates and gives you what you need to cook every day. Then I got some help with deliveries. Then I've employed somebody to help me in the kitchen for some prep, even though
brilliant.
not directly. So like a VA, but for the kitchen, how to put it. So somebody that was like a contractor, like a subcontractor, that whenever I needed, when the sales were high, I could get somebody in to help me with that. Um, and then my husband ended up going part-time on Tesco as well, so he could. So he was one of this. The minute I felt like I was ready, and I could see that by doing something different, I would get. I needed I needed to be in that place myself. Then I could shift it. And
Yeah,
then I've tried loads of networking groups, and I found really good ones, really good quality ones, and value for money, where you didn't have to invest pounds. And then I think one of the things that I really want to touch on here and on scaling. One of the things that really helped me scale, except, you know, I've done a lot into process and got some help from people to help me in the business. But I think that the main one is the people in general. That's that, like, external people as well, that really help me build the confidence to scale up, to believe where I can take it, to, you know, the support networks. Once, I think I really want to mention, if I can, three really important people
Okay.
that have kind of shaped and really got me into a place that I am here today. And there's loads of people. There's my customers, there's, you know, there's friends, there's people that share, there's people. So, you know, there's loads of people. And I really, truly believe that without that community that have been around me, I could have not been here, because it is that drove me, and the feedback that customers have given me and recommended me to their friends. But I think one of the person that I want to mention is my neighbor, and she doesn't know that. I don't think I've ever saw. I'm going to just share with her this video when I see it, because
Okay.
she has been one of my first customers ever, and because she truly loved my food and really was my supportive. She works in the NHS, so she took a lot of meals with her at the hospital at work. And I think initially most of my customers were coming through her. And there were
Okay.
a few other bits, but because of what she did and the way she genuinely spoke naturally about my meals, I don't think the impact that I don't think she probably understands the impact that she had on those initial building blocks that kind of gave me the wings to
Okay.
do some more. So, Lindsay, thank you.
L-
Really, Lindsay, she's amazing.
Lindsay. Oh, well done,
Lindsay.
Lindsay. That's amazing.
And the second person is Sarah, and the Ladies Empowerment Circle. So Sarah, what she's done, she started her Ladies Empowerment Circle similar to the time when I started my business, and I found her through other ladies. And when I joined her, I think it was at the end of my year one, around October. I never knew that networking, that, you know, for a Fiverr exists, first of all. So it felt like, oh my God, that's exactly what I needed. You know, I was just, I didn't want to invest thousands of pounds. And that community really, really helped me. And what Sarah does there with the women really helped me just not feel that I was on my own. You
Yeah.
know, it felt like, do you know what? You can make business through kindness. You don't have to be ruthless. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to not care. You don't have to uh, go for anything but what you really want to stand for. And once I kind of realized what I want to do, and it was kind of opening that space, I kind of, it opened so much possibility. And it felt like this, you know, the ladies were so supportive as well, with initial trying and recommending. So that kind of shifted it to the next level. And I think that the third part, and I'm glad she's not here, because the third person, I'm glad she's not here, because I would have got really nervous with her watching me, is Gulnaz.
Okay.
So Gulnaz, I don't know if she realizes, but the fact that when I started with her, she really spoken to me like I was this most amazing person, and that she knew me forever, and that, you know, I could just go out and do anything and it doesn't matter. And, you know, like, really a personal conversation that really shaped, like, do you know what? I could be like the next queen if I wanted to. Like, it kind of really promoted me to myself in such a way that I was like, how can this lady promote me to myself and sell me to myself in such a way that I can't sell myself to? And I think when I started this journey, the fact I never really thought I'll be a finalist at She Inspire, which I think is such a massive thing that's going on. So when I ended up being a finalist last year, it was such an honor and such a privilege, and it's given me such a confidence boost. And the community that she's created, and clearly now with giving voices to people like me now, it's just amazing. I just wanted to say thank you to her too. I think the last couple of years I could have not done it without these three special women on a very personal journey.
Oh, that's so generous of you to say all those things. That I guess that's how things work in life, and it's just good
Mm,
to recognise who's supporting you on the way to
mm.
success. So, do you? We've got to finish this now before we get to the exciting cooking bit. But have you slowed down a little bit? Are you less exhausted than you used to be? Have you figured that one out?
I am less exhausted, definitely. I have a better work-life balance. I spend more time with my family, which was always kind of the really annoying bit at when I needed to make the change. Um, I don't necessarily say I work less because I just love working. I think I'm more clever about how I work. When I work, I can
Okay.
manage my time a bit better. I've got great plans with my business, so I don't think necessarily less work is in the books for the next few years. But it's definitely flexible work and is what I choose what I do when I want to do it. And people can, you can start a business like this and earn a living from home and earn a decent living and do that for the rest of your life and have a good work-life balance. Or you can be me and just give yourself more and more to do because that's what excites you, that's what drives, we all got to consider all that. And I
Yeah.
think that's the fun of this business. I mean, I've got great plans with Potora Mills at the minute, so we're kind of moving into a premises, which is um, quite exciting but challenging, and new bits to really want to
Yeah.
go to create processes that you can properly train out. There's a lot of work coming with that. I've just set up a CIC. I really want to create this idea where we can all eat healthy and nutritious meals without, running out of time. And whether we
Yeah.
choose a meal prep company or we just do really quick meals like some of the ones that I'll show you later. And I also set up a training company, which I am hoping to really help me train other people into either business mentorship, and
Oh,
setting
wow.
up businesses by themselves. Really give them the tools that they need so they don't have to go through a lot of the gaps and unknowns that
Right.
we have to go through at the beginning.
It sounds quite amazing, and it's not really surprising that you take on even more ideas and more work when you when you've hit success. Well, Diana, we've really covered this in such fantastic detail. I know it's going to be so interesting to everyone who watches it. You are a one-off. You're a very inspirational lady, and it's been fantastic yet again to be able to talk to you. So the only good thing about ending this video is knowing that we've got another one coming up soon when we're going to look at one of your recipes and how you prepare it. So Diana Potora for now, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Ray. Goodbye.
Bye.